So yeah, this is David from KlipDraw support department, and I will be showing you how to use a little bit of the KlipDraw motion options. All right. So well, yeah, I will just share the screen, and we will see how everything works. All right. I will show you the main features, how to solve some of the most asked questions we've been having, and once I finish, we will get into a round for questions, and so you can ask whatever you may need. All right. Right, good. So in order to work with KlipDraw motion, pretty simple. First thing we have to do is just make a brand new project. Right, and from here, most of the workflow we will be following is pretty similar to what we have already seen in KlipDraw Animate before. All right, one of the main questions we've been having is how to actually be able to make a track and how to make an animation in the video, right? So first step you will always have to do is create your clip, right? So just make your first clip. Several options to do that. One of them, just drag in the video and that's your brand new clip. Or you can also use the icons to set the very beginning of a clip or the very end of a clip, same as in KlipDraw Animate, right? No. Once we have our clip, we can now make a drawing in it, all right? In order to do that, just click on the brush icon as always. And from there, we will be in KlipDraw motion drawing window. From here, what we can do is we can make a brand new track, and we can also have some static objects on the video. To make a new track, it's as simple as, well, click on new tracking and just select whatever player you want to track. All right, we'll just play a little bit of the video and I'll keep it like there. And I will select just a random player from here, right? So just click on new tracking, click on whatever tool you want to use. I will use a spotlight right now. And then you have to click on the player. But one of the things you have to keep in mind is the size of the selector. As you can see, there's like a yellow box around my mouse, right? That's the selector. So in order to select whatever time you want, can you hear me? Because Martin is saying you cannot hear me. I'm pretty sure the sound is on. Can anyone please confirm?
Silver chat.
Right, cool. So yeah, I was saying about the selector, right? So just by using your mouse wheel, you can just make it bigger or smaller, right? This will depend on how the size of the player is. Because as we can see, this player over here is much bigger than that one over there. The ideal size for this will be about the size of the chest of a player, right? So if I want to follow this guy, I will just have to make the selector as big as he is. So for that other guy, I will make it as smaller, all right? So that will just depend on where the player is in the video. As you can see, we have several tracks at the same time, but something that you must keep in mind when doing several tracks is to use the save mode, all right? Because that will depend on the CPU your PC actually have, all right? So the minimum requirements to use KlipDraw is actually having an i7 CPU, right? Because the tracking process is pretty heavy. But if your PC is not as powerful as that, you can always set the save mode option and then you can make the tracks. Let's follow that guy. Let's follow this other guy over here. So now if I play my video, the auto tracking will be working, right? So as you can see, the video is kind of a slow motion right now. That's because it is actually playing half full speed. So the tracking can be done with the save mode, right? As simple as that. And let's make a brand new, let's get these two guys. I will get that one, and I will also get this one over here. So the main process is just that: select whatever you want, press play on the video. You can just press the spacebar key, and that's it. That will actually follow the players until the action ends. I will just keep it going for a little bit. And let's see if there's any kind of conflict here. Well, there was kind of a conflict there, because as you saw, my spotlight went a bit weird for a moment. So what we can do is we can actually change the selector position, right? So just to avoid having those kind of glitchy parts, you can just select whatever tracking you want and then move the selector to where it should be. All right, so just like that, you will be able to actually make a better and more fluid tracking. Yeah, all right, something like that will be good. As soon as we're happy with the result, we just have to click on stop tracking, and now we can actually see the full video on full speed. Right, as simple as that. Another thing you can also do is you can actually adjust the object. So as you can see, the base of my spotlight here is kind of too far from the player. All right, so what we can do is we can just drag it a little bit in order to set it in a much better position. All right, something here, and that will be much nicer. And another of the options we have, and we have been having a lot of questions with it, is the option to actually link to different objects while doing the tracking. All right, so in order to do that, what we have to do is we have to select both objects, or as many objects as we want. Just holding down the control key, we can select both spotlights, and then we can click on the link icon there. So from now on, those two spotlights will be linked. Right? So just like that. The process here is just select, while keeping the control key down, just select one of the objects and then select the other one. Finally, click on the link icon. Right? Pretty simple. Some more things we have to take a look at is how to make an animate. All right, that's also one of the questions we've been having. So because people doesn't know how to use KlipDraw Animate inside KlipDraw Motion. The way to do that is just go to whatever moments you want to go in the video, for example, right here. And then we just have to click on the KlipDraw Animate icon. By clicking there, KlipDraw Animate will be opened. All right, and there are a few changes here. First of those changes will be how to actually control the times in KlipDraw Animate. So if we make a brand new animation here, something like that, and there, let's change that into red, for example. And let's add a spotlight over this guy here, right? In order to change the animation, right? So when the arrow starts and when it ends and blah, 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 we just have to use the timeline we actually have down below by dragging the action to whatever moments we may need, all right? This time we have over here is the total length for the animation. So this animation will stop the frame and will show everything for 5 seconds. We can actually make that longer or shorter if we want to. And the timeline down below is showing for how long that specific object will be showing. So in this case, that arrow will come on second 1. I will actually, yeah, keep it like that. The spotlight will start on second 2 and it will go off. Well, everything will go off at second 6. All right, so as simple as that. As soon as we have our time set, we can actually go back to the motion tab and we will be able to see everything. So that will be my animate, first the area, then the arrow, finally my spotlight, and then it will continue. I will now have my tracking options here, and so on, so on, so on. We could add even more animates in the middle of whatever moment we may want if we want to. More things about how to work with KlipDraw Animate. If I click back again on the Animate tab, just think that every time I make a new animate in my motion clip, I will have a brand new tab for it. So if I click back in my animate, one of the things we can do is we can actually change the tools we have over here. Right? By right-clicking on any of these tools with the tiny triangle on the lower right corner, we can actually change the behavior of that tool. So for example, for my bases, we can have the closed base, or we can just right click and change it into the open one, right? Same thing will apply for the text or the arrows. If I want to have a different kind of arrow instead of the straight ones, I want to have the curved arrows. I want to have like the freehand drawn arrow, and so on, so on, so on. All right. So just keep in mind that with most of the tools, we can actually right-click in order to change the tool itself. Right? What more? Yeah, all right. So another question we have been having here is with some of the tools, and this is mostly from new users. Some tools you actually have to click twice in order to finish it. All right. An example for that will be the linked bases. If I want to link these three players, I have to click once on the first player, again the second player, and then I will have to click twice on the third one in order to actually close that tool. All right, so it's one click, two clicks, three, and finally double click in order to just finish that shape, let's say. All right, so pretty simple. All right, fine. Now let's imagine we have actually finished our motion clip, and we can just click on save in order to save it. This will actually make the whole video, and that will be saved. Right, so this. So now that the video is saved, we can actually close the motion, and there will be my clip. So from here, things we can do, well, we can make a brand new clip and edit that brand new clip. And we can also preview whatever we have done. By clicking on this icon over here, this new icon, we can actually go to the preview. But as you can see, there's a message popping up here. This is telling me that my second clip, my clip 2, does not have a proper video. That's because I have just made it, but I've never opened it and I have never saved it. Right? So there's no actual video for that clip. So I can just select my first clip and review that one. Right? This will be exactly the final clip that I will get if I export it. But if I try to use the second one, hey, there's no video there. What I must do is, well, just click on the brush icon, open it, click on save, and I will have my clip. Of course, we can make some tracks here, we can add animates to it, and so on, so on, so on. All right. So just keep in mind that you must always save your clips before you can export them or before you can actually review them. And also, something that you must always keep in mind is that if we actually change the length of a clip, because hey, on the first time I did this long, but I actually think I should make that clip shorter. I can just drag the end or the beginning of it in order to change it. But as soon as I make any kind of change, I will get a brand new message telling me, hey, you have to reopen that video and save it again. All right? So just click on save. It will be saved again. And well, that's basically how that will work. Right? So just keep that in mind. The most important things is you always have to get your clip done before you can make a drawing. Once you get your clip done, click on the brush icon, and then you can start making your trackings. As a rule of thumb, you should always use just a single tracking at a single time. All right, so do not try to have like 7 players being tracked at the same time unless you have a really, really powerful PC. Really powerful, I mean, you have an i9 CPU, right? And even in that case, you should always use the safe mode, right? So just keep that in mind. And you should always also checking the selector, right? And also keep in mind that you can only do that while the tracking option is actually being tracking, all right? So as this tracking is open, the red one, I can actually just stop the video and move the selector to whatever position I may need. As soon as I actually close that tracking, I will not be able to change the selector again. So if I click on stop, I cannot change that selector again. I will have to just delete it and make the whole tracking again. Right. So pretty simple. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it according to the most frequent questions we've been having in these past weeks. All right. So from this point on, just we're open to ask to answer whatever question you may want to ask. So just please feel free to send whatever question into the chat or whatever you need. I will just stop sharing my screen while I wait for the questions, if you have any, of course. And I will be here for about 5 minutes, just waiting for you guys. All right, there's a question here from Tomaides, which is asking if we can actually use a still picture, let's say, instead of a full animation while working with KlipDraw Animate. There's actually a trick in order to do that. All right, so let me just share the screen again. Where's it? And this is how you should do that, all right? So when making a new animation, what you can actually do if you want to use, well, just having the arrows and the spotlights, some text, whatever you want, but not having them moving, the only thing you have to do is just add whatever thing you want, right? Whatever object you may want to have there. And then on this column we have right here, just set everything to 0. All right. So what that will do is it will actually show the drawings that without the moving arrows and such. So we'll just like pop, so you can see that. All right. So that's the only thing we have to do. In the old animate version, we had actually a check which was without animation, and that's what we'll do. So this is setting everything to 0 on the speed column. We'll be working like with KlipDraw Basic. All right. Not really. So Mark Porter is asking if an design for software will be included in export. Not really, but what we're working right now is on the integration of KlipDraw Motion in export. All right, so that will be coming on the following weeks. I do not have a specific date, but it's coming soon. So we will actually be able to pull up KlipDraw Motion from within the export drawing tool. Right, so You will just export, open the presentation, make a drawing in the presentation, and you will be working with KlipDraw at that specific point. Right? The workflow will probably be the same as we have just seen. So it will be mostly like opening KlipDraw in an export. I'll wait a bit more in case there's any new question. Tomatis, we're actually working on an update. All right, so because we've been having some issues so far, and mostly with video exporting options, and that can also come from the minimum requirements. All right, so that's why I insist on having at least an i7 in order to properly work with the KlipDraw Motion. All right, but we're already trying to fix it. So we'll have an update probably this week or next week in the worst case scenario in order to solve all that. Jan Billen is asking if we can actually select all the speeds here and set them to 0. Not right now, but that's something that we have just actually discussing this very week to just implement a brand new option to just set everything to 0. All right, so that will be coming on future updates. Yeah, probably in a short term. If anyone has any other questions, yeah, no matter how silly you think it would be, we're here just to answer whatever comes through your mind. So please, just ask. I'll be here for 2 more minutes if there's no more questions. All right, thanks to all of you guys, and we will be, we'll tell everyone when the update is out, right? So everyone can actually update the software and just play a little bit more with it, right? This helped a little bit to clarify the basic processes on how to use the KlipDraw Motion and the new things in the specific animate part, right? Which is one of the trickiest parts we have been finding right now, at least for what people is asking. All right, so that's fine. If anyone of you or anyone at all gets any kind of question, just please contact us. Don't be afraid on sending us an email. All right. Oh yeah, Martin, you can actually use whatever, well, not whatever, but some different tools while doing the tracking option, right? So the options here will be the spotlights, and also the bases, right? So just click on base, click on the player. Remember to change the selector uh, to make it meet the chest of the player. Move it a little bit if you want to, and that's it. We'll be using the bases. And of course, if we have like 3 different bases, we can actually link them, right? So yes, I will have those 2 players. I'll make this really simple. Stop it there. And now I will be able to actually set the spotlight base to the base and link all those 3 options there, right? So yeah, you can also use the bases as the link option, sorry, the tracking option, right? All right, good. So if there's no more questions, I will just leave it here, all right? And we will be happy to answer whatever email you send if you have any kind of doubt on how to use the software or any kind of question. So just feel free to contact us. Bye.